So, yeah, we are somehow addicted to having fun, and even, in so-called serious literature, it's that, you don't want to make this effort anymore. Books who are serious also have to be very entertaining, and you don't want to be bored, and that's I think 20, 30 years ago, you could still read a book, and it would be this kind of work to do, but you wouldn't think, well, I have to be entertained all the time, and then. So how do we get out of this dilemma when everything, even for intellectuals, has to be entertaining and not boring? And
I don't know that I'd agree with the last part of what you said. There's a real split. It's interesting that you went and interviewed Crichton, because there's a real split in U.S. literature between commercial literature. Novels like that Crichton writes, Stephen King, Tom Clancy, who are the other big, Grisham, the law guy. Some of which are really pretty good, but they're and they make a great deal of money, and there's a whole lot of demand for them. And then there is still, and I think it's probably like this in it's probably not quite. There's probably more demand for serious books in Europe, but here there's a small pocket of probably, 500,000, say 1 million readers, many of whom are from the upper classes and have good educations and have been taught the pleasures of hard work in reading or music or art, and like that. I mean, when you're talking to me, you're talking to somebody who doesn't have very much power in the culture, and who's not very important except in a fairly small. I don't know what the analog would be. It would be something like maybe contemporary classical music in the U.S., which there are people who enjoy it and listen to it, partly because of training and partly because they're disposed to be willing to do a certain amount more work reading it. But compared to popular music and rock and roll and hip hop and stuff, classical music is nothing. I mean, economically or commercially, or in terms of how many people have heard of it, or how much an influence it has on the culture. So, and for me personally, I don't know that it's really ever been all that different. I think probably American education used to be a little bit better and a little bit more difficult, and children had no choice but to realize that there were certain things that were hard and involved a certain amount of drudgery that were actually very satisfying at the end of it. But for the most part, I think in the U.S., people who've been doing, quote, serious stuff, which is harder and stranger, have always played to a much smaller audience. In terms of what can be done about the dilemma, first of all, I'm wondering who would care what I think, and second, I'm not sure, and third, what do you think?